Uh, Hello, people. It's been a while since I've uploaded last. I do realize that. The last video I did, aside from my MCC Rising application and my two decent parody songs, was my typical Shine a Light experience, which is absolutely wild to think about. Also wild to think about is that this is probably the first time that a large majority of you are seeing my face in the video, which is also something. Uh, I might end up doing this more often, depends on if I feel like it or not. Uh, I did say that I was going to be doing some more videos that weren't about Tibic or MCC Island or Minecraft in general, and this is one of them. Figured I'd try out some Pokemon Showdown. Random battles, because I do not feel like making my own team, at least at the moment. If this So this battle starts off with a Monkey Dory in front, along with a Charizard, Glastrier, Meloetta, Houndstone, and Luxray. Uh, I proceed to miss a Focus Blast and then get murked by Sucker Punch from a Brute Bonnet, which is it's sad, but eh. Uh, I go I go for Charizard here, hoping that he'll stay in and let me get off a flamethrower, because type damage, type difference. But no, that doesn't happen. Bro, he takes a while for him to choose his next move, which gave me a lot of time to rethink my life decisions up until this point, such as why did I go with Charizard? And he chooses to now create me, which is not perfect, but I stick it out and try to get the Hurricane off, and I miss. Gets off Calm Mind, which isn't great for my odds. Yeah, thankfully I land the Hurricane, but the confusion does nothing. Unfortunately, meaning I take about half of my health. I go for an Earthquake here. It does a good amount of damage. Well, I mean, yes, it does do a good amount of damage, and then the confusion hits itself. And then I get a decent amount of damage with Flamethrower, and then I live barely at Alluring Voice, and then I get the kill with an Earthquake. Yeah. This guy takes a while to choose his mons, which is annoying, but I get I get an Earthquake, and I one-tap the Iron Moth. Once again, another reason why it is one of the weakest Paradox Pokemon. I swap out into Luxray, hoping to get off some good electric damage. But I have Facade, because I'm burned, and I end up doing a lot more damage than I anticipate doing, even if he does Terra into a ground type. Wasting his Terra this early is an interesting decision, but what can I say? I struggle a bit with who to go with here, because I don't really have anything to counter a ground type, so I swap him to Meloetta. Terra Blast is a decent amount, but then I think that Brute Bonnet might get swept back in, so I go with Hyper Voice, but it doesn't matter anyway because Brave Bird does recoil damage. At this point, a large majority of my team is pretty low in health. Goes back into Brute Bonnet, and I land a Focus Blast. And then get murked by Crunch. Meaning that he's still down more than I am, but most of my surviving mons are very, very weak. He takes a while to decide his move here, which was interesting to think through, but I get the kill on the Brute Bonnet, thankfully, getting rid of a massive crunch dealer. Goes into Man Shao, and then I do not outspeed, unfortunately. Yep, yeah, I mean, that's predictable. I was low health anyway, so there's very low shot. I go into Houndstone, thinking that, because, I mean, even though that he does have knockoff, I'm a ghost type, so fighting will be out of the question. Yeah, I lose my heavy-duty boots, which isn't great, and but I do decent damage with body press, but it's nothing excellent. He misses a triple axle, thankfully, and I'd go for rest, and then sleep talk. Unfortunately, my sleep talk picks rest, essentially meaning I lost a turn, almost as if I tried clicking another move while I was sleeping. Triple Axel does, like, nothing. Gets a crit, but does, like, nothing. And then I get Sleep Talk Body Press, which gets the kill, thankfully. And that leaves me in a... I'm up 3 Pokemon to 1. And yet it's an Okidogi who does decent damage. I wake up, and then Sleep Talk fails, meaning I lose another turn. I almost went with Poltergeist, but because it's Dark type, I go for the Body Press, but it doesn't even matter because I get poisoned from Gunk Shot and die immediately. Leaving me with a Luxray with very low health and a Glastrier which has had no damage done to it at all. I try to get a Facade off. I do get a Facade off. It does a lot of damage, but high horsepower murks me. So I'm left with a full health Glastrier versus a somewhat decent health Okidogi. I go for a close combat here, thinking that it's a fighting type, so I'll get a lot of good damage off, but he goes for a Drain Punch, so we're about equal. Doesn't do as much as I anticipated, unfortunately. So I Terra Fighting into it and go for an Icicle Crash. I think that'll do a lot. I live decent amount, and then Icicle Crest does not do as much damage as I would have liked it. I'm at this point kind of out of options, so it all comes down to who outspeeds. I don't, but I live barely, and managed to clutch it out, which is honestly pretty huge considering that I don't really do competitive Pokemon that much, so that was pretty good. In this next battle, I open up with a Clawitzer and take about half my damage from a Freeze Dry. I go for a Dark Pulse, and guy takes a little bit to actually choose what he's doing. Switches into a Toxapex from the Delibird, which is pretty decent. I go for Dragon Pulse and do a lot of damage, thankfully. At this point, I could just spam Dragon Pulse and it'll probably work. So that's what I do. I spam. He gets off a layer of Toxic Spikes, which is unfortunate, but I get the kill off of a Dark Pulse. It's actually 2 layers of Toxic Spikes now that I look at it. Don't realize I didn't catch on that. Goes into a Muckbostiff, so I go for the U-turn, interestingly enough, not Dragon Pulse, which probably would have done a lot more damage. I go into the Passimian, thinking that I'll be able to get off a good fighting type move, which it doesn't work because he switches into a Sinistcha and Sinistra, however, and it gets invalidated because of ghost typing. I go into a Zoroark, who comes out and ended up disguised as Abomasnow. Abomasnow. It gets toxic. I go for the Dark Pulse, but he Terra Steals, so it doesn't do as much as I would have liked. I think I still get stabbed for some reason. Oh yeah, I still get stab damage because I am a dark type in disguise. So that's good at least. It does decent damage and gets the flinch, but he heals, so that's not great. It almost kills, but uses strength sap and invalidates all of my hard work, unfortunately. I'm left with like really no option except to keep spamming Dark Pulse and hope I get a good amount of damage off. Does decent. He gets off a Calm Mind here, which isn't perfect. I have enough HP left for one last Dark Pulse spam, and then I get claimed by Toxic. Bro also got off another Calm Mind, which wasn't great. I go into the Pessimian, no, because I'm already Toxic, so I can't get double Toxic. And when I go for a knockoff, which does a lot more damage than I would have expected, but it's definitely a welcome surprise. I go for knockoff, but it doesn't matter because Delibird goes for Brave Bird, and I die immediately. I go into the Pawmot. Thing you'll be able to get off some decent electric damage. Go for a double shock, but in the end it doesn't even matter because I get swapped in on. Macargo comes out, and I go for get the double shock, which doesn't do as much as I would have liked, especially because, well, Macargo's half rock type, so yeah, I go for a close combat, which does end up getting me the kill, thankfully enough. Yeah, I take some damage from the Toxic, of course, and then with a Nuzzle I get the kill on Delibird, leaving me up 4-2. The boss stiff comes back in. I try and go for the close combat, but it doesn't matter because retaliate and I get claimed. I decide to go in with the Wigglytuff. I don't remember why, but it's an interesting decision. I go for Alluring Voice, which actually proves out to be amazing because it gets one shot. And then I'm left in a 3v1 against a Minior. I go for Alluring Voice, do about half damage. It's good. Shell Smash debuffs get wiped by White Herb, which is unfortunate for me, that is. I try going for the Alluring Voice again. Goes for Acrobatics, I'm pretty damn low. I get a lot of damage off with the Alluring Voice. Then I go for a Wish, which doesn't matter because I get Power Gemmed. I essentially sack the Clawitzer. I try to go for a Dragon Pulse, but it doesn't matter. So I'm left with a full health Abomasnow against a very low health Minior. I go Terra Water, and then I go with a Woodhammer, which thankfully works. And I'm left mostly still alive. And that's probably the best I've done in Showdown in a while.